My name's Zan and I'm an artist from Melbourne, Australia. I like to make masks and puppets and then put them into public space in a kind of guerrilla theatre, impromptu style. But because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to, and Melbourne's been in lockdown, I haven't been able to use public space. So I've been trying to find other ways to kind of create the worlds that I enjoy creating. And I've been using quite a lot of stop motion. I want to show you how easy it is to do stop motion. And I thought the best way to do that was to make a mini stop motion piece myself and take you through the process with me. So here goes. Well, the first step is to come up with a fun idea. And the great thing about stop motion is that you can make anything happen in the world that you create. So I've had to think about what ideas, and I thought I'll work with that simple message of patents prolong pandemics. So I've come up with an idea that I'm going to play around with Star Wars, throw in a little bit of Doctor Who, and we're going to save the planet. The next step, once you've got a bit of an idea, which of course will probably change a lot along the way, is to kind of create a bit of a storyboard to help you organise your thoughts and ideas and how they're going to be used. This probably makes no sense to you guys, and I'm going to change it continually along the way, but it helps me organise what sort of images I'll be needing. And once you've got your idea and a sort of sense of how it will play out, you can look around the house, see what you've got. Maybe you've got magazines, newspapers, maybe there are images you can source that exist in even old books, or you can go onto the internet and hand pick your images. Well, I've just come back from the printers and I've got my photocopies. I'm just about to cut out the dialect. I find scissors and sometimes for the more intricate pieces, a little Stanley knife. And I forgot to mention before, but you do need a backdrop to the piece that you're going to make. And I've printed out this poster-sized image of the galaxy, which I'm going to work on, but you could use any posters, maybe posters that you already have at home. I've used maps before as the backdrop, or even just plain A1 size paper, coloured or white. While I get cutting, enjoy another little stop motion I've made. Again. Well, since I saw you last, I've cut out all the images and I'm down on the floor now because this is the fun bit where you get to sort of play around with the storyline. I'm no longer going with the Daleks. I've decided to stick with a purely Star Wars theme, just to keep it simple because it's such a short piece, but I know I can use that for some other project. And what I'm doing here is, with the backdrop, I'm just playing around with the pieces and working out how the story will go, beginning, middle and end. Okay, this morning it's the filming day. And there are some basic rules just to get you started. And the first one is you want to have a space where you can control the light. I'll be closing those blinds and just using light sources that I can control, and also being careful not to cast a shadow over the space you're working. The next thing is setting up your phone over here I've done it I've fiddled around a little bit, I've put it in a tripod, and if you can have a little look, I'll just ask Jeremy, could you bring it a little closer? You can see the image, I've wiggled it round, I've put it on a couple of books. I often use a bit of masking gaffer tape for that to hold it in place. But the rule here is that you cannot move your phone now, and you cannot move the base. So blue tacking down your base and not moving your phone. A few rules around phone setup are, first of all, make sure that you put it on airplane mode, because you don't want people calling you, because you won't be able to answer it. Because once it's there, you don't want to move it, otherwise the image will change, and that will affect the whole stop motion. And then when you go into camera, make sure live is turned off, and make sure you don't have flash there as well. Okay, I'm ready to start the filming. And what I do is I set myself up with some scissors, which I'll be using throughout the piece, some blue tack to hold pieces down, and I've also found masking tape is really good, because you can pull it off without ripping on the paper. And for example, I've stuck that down with masking tape, because that won't really be moving. And if I'm doing quite a few shots and want to keep something still, because it's so easy to bump things as you take a photo, I actually also use the masking tape to hold that down. I think that's pretty much it. I'll just take a photo. If I make a mistake, I put my hand in front of it to register the fact that a mistake's been made, so I can delete a few shots beforehand. And then I can just redo it. And a mistake tends to be things like you've accidentally bumped another bit of paper and that's moved it, because you want everything exactly as it is. But as well as trying to get everything right, not bumping any of the equipment and not moving the pieces, you still want to kind of enjoy the space and feel like you're experimenting, and it's sort of a playful moment, because often you come up with fun ideas in this part of it that can really be some of the best bits of it, and it gives the piece energy. So as much as we're terrified of moving things, we also want to kind of enjoy the process too. So I'll see you on the other side. Well, I've taken all the images, and I'm now actually using my computer, and I take all my photos and I put them into my iMovie and create the piece that way. But there are lots of apps out there, and you could actually do the entire stop motion piece on your phone. I've used an app called Stop Motion, and you can actually take the photos through the app and it will work directly with them, or you can actually take them, you can open up the app Stop Motion and then access your photos that you've used for the stop motion, and then manipulate them into the piece. And you can decide how fast you want each image to sit on. I like using iMovie because I feel like I've got a bit more control. I can go fast in some areas and slow down in others. You just basically access all your images and put them in, and that happens, they automatically appear in the order in which you've taken them. The main thing is you go into crop and you take away the Ken Burns option and put them into fit, otherwise they sort of move around. And then you just play around with the duration that you'll spend with each image, anywhere between 0.2 of a second to 0.5 of a second, and maybe if you want something to be read really clearly, you might let it sit on 1 or 2 seconds. The other thing about iMovie is you get to add your music and play around with that. But there are also lots of apps that you can play around with on the phone, which have music that you can add to it, and it can also speed up your footage and slow it down. So you could do everything via your phone, or you could do what I do and access the photos via your computer and then put them into iMovie and do it that way. And iMovie is really intuitive. If I can do it, anyone can. A good idea might be just to do a really short piece, like move something across the table and take a photo on one of the apps first, so you get an idea of how it works. With that said, I want to show you one more little piece just to throw in a bit of a curveball. Everything I've shown you so far has been collaged work that's been moving around as the camera sits above and looks down, whereas the next one, the camera is looking at the work and it's 3D, and really the options here are endless. I've seen fantastic little stories made out of Lego pieces, and anything can be done. But I'll let you have a look at that, and then we'll have the reveal of the one that we've been working on. One more thing, I also, when I'm putting together the piece, to get the timing right, I tend to show a few people. Luckily, at my house, I have a son who's just finished art school, and a daughter who's done design, and my husband who's very patient, and my 15-year-old. So I'll check in with them and show them the work in progress once it's in a sort of video format. And that's so useful, because sometimes you don't see what other people see, and you're so sort of involved in it, you know what the text says because you've written it and made it. You need someone with fresh eyes to look at it, so they'll give advice like, oh, that's too slow, or that's too fast, you need to slow that down. And I find that really useful. So find a friend or some family member and see if you can get some feedback before you compress it and put it out there. Well, here goes. Thank you so much for joining me on this, and hopefully I'll put a little bit of information at the end of this, just sort of like the simple rules, but there really are no rules. Just enjoy and have fun and think of it as an experiment, and if I can do it, anyone can. Thanks so much.